Hello, everyone. We are back. This is the 40 plus and flirty holiday dating summit. Yes, if you want a boo for Christmas, let me tell you, you need to get ready. And that's what we do. We prepare you. Now, I don't know if we can get you a boo for this Christmas. If you start the work, baby, if you start the work now, you're going to be ready for next Christmas. That's what we do. We educate. We don't match make. We educate. Why? Because when you make that investment with you, you're going to get a reward. All right. And you are worthy to be invested in. And today we have some phenomenal guests. And this is my first time meeting them. And I've already fallen in love with them. We have the relationship battle twins. I hope I'm saying that right.
You are.
Ooh, wait, I tell you, I'm doing it today. We have GQ and T with
Yes.
us today. And I want to say hello, hello, hello. Okay, could you tell the people a little bit about you?
Absolutely. Thank you. So we want to thank you for having us. I'm GQ. And I'm T. And we're the relationship battle twins. And we don't do Q. We do clarity. So we gonna clear some things up today. Right. So between us, we have about 2 decades worth of experience in the dating realm, conflict resolution, and things of such. And we believe in healthy love heals because love is not a mystery, it's a mastery.
Oh, I love it. That just goes right along with the we educate, not match make theme. I love it. Preparation eliminates perspiration.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I've got a series of questions for you.
Okay.
I am curious. Many people over 50 carry emotional weight from past marriages, heartbreaks, or disappointments. What does it really mean to start fresh? And how can someone begin releasing that old baggage?
Ooh. So a lot of this has to do with your healing process over the years. The difference between baggage and experience is literally how you deal with it and where you are in your healing process.
Mhm.
Right? When you go through an experience, when it's still hurting you emotionally and mentally, that's baggage. And then you carry that into new relationships. But if you heal from it, you learned your lessons from it, then it becomes experience. And once it's experience, now it's knowledge that you don't ever have to deal with those things before and how to deal with things better. Yeah,
Bless you.
I think that just having like emotional regulation, whenever you start to grow, you learn how to deal with your baggage, your feelings. And it's not about not feeling what you feel, it's about knowing how to deal with it and express it. And so I think that he's right. Like the healing process is going to be very important and understanding that there is no time limit on it because once you start hitting 40, 50, 60, now you're feeling like I need to be rushed. There is no time limit on healing because now you may start realizing you have a lot of trauma from past experiences that you need to deal with now. And giving yourself enough time to actually deal with those things and heal from those things is going to help you not to bring baggage into a new relationship.
I agree. So, what signs show up when someone is unconsciously bringing past pain into new connections? And how can they gently interrupt those patterns?
I think pattern recognition is like huge, right? Because the first time something happens is an accident. The second time, it's a coincidence. The third time, it's a fucking pattern. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a pattern now. And so, understanding that these are things that I do often and having that self reflection, that accountability that you can look at yourself and go, oh, I do this often. This is what makes me do this. When this happens, I respond like this. And that's how you can stop doing some of those things that may have hurt previous partners. And you start to understand just, hey, if you point in my face, I'm going to react like this. So let's not do that because that triggers me in a way, shape, or form. So I don't want to have us have these same conflicts and these same problems that I've had before.
And actually, that's a personal example because with me, in my past, I've had people put hands in my face and it never really goes well. And she speaks with her hands. So when we're in the car sometimes, she gets to talking with her hands, she gets to moving around, and it would send me mentally into a place that told me it's time to fight. But I never want to do that, of course, because that's my person. But I started noticing that pattern. She used to see me get a little bit more antsier in the conversation. So then we would have separate conversations about, okay, I got that we just dealt with that problem, but then here's the reaction, here's what happened, what's going on. And it took a lot of self-reflection. So I think that is a big piece of what people need to do when you recognize those patterns. That's an evidence of baggage. That's evidence of your not experience, but trauma that you're coming from, that you haven't solved it. Ever since we talked about it, ever since we came from it, she doesn't do it as much, but I also don't react harshly about it because now it's on our mental mind frame. And when you're with somebody that you're truly trying to love, truly trying to be with, you're going to be paying attention to those things because you never want to give that type of feeling to them, like, oh my God, or I'm trying to hurt you. So being able to reflect on that and keeping your partner in mind really is a basis for moving forward.
Oh, that's huge. So for singles over 50, what are the first practical steps to creating a healthy, open-hearted dating mindset without fear, pressure, or comparison?
You don't want to be self-conscious about the history and baggage that you may be bringing. A lot of times when we have couples that are over 40 and they're 50, they harp on their age. Right? They keep talking about, oh, I'm 40, I'm 50, I got to do this. And like she said earlier, there is no time limit on this stuff, okay? You have to be comfortable in your process. You need to be comfortable with yourself and you need to be comfortable with your history.
Yeah.
So as you move towards dating another individual, yes, you both bring things to the table, but as long as you're working on yours, there's no reason to be self-conscious about it.
I think the big thing is to give yourself grace. To understand that yes, I'm 50. Yes, I'm 60. Yes, I'm single. But I'm still growing and learning myself every day. And so in order to find somebody else, if you give you grace, you know how to give it to somebody else. And so you won't be so like, I'm not going to say picky, but you won't find all of the red flags immediately. You'll try to figure out, is this a flag? Is this trauma? Is this me needing to figure them out a little bit more? So just give yourself grace throughout the dating process. Because it will be a process all over again, even at 50. It's going to be just like you were dating in your 20s, your 30s. You have to give yourself grace in this era.
You know what? I will also add with her, you giving yourself grace. Also recognize you have a slight advantage being 40 and 50, right? You lived some life, you got some experience. You use that advantage in moving forward with that and recognizing that the other person, they had different experiences and now you all bring different ingredients to the table.
Right.
I love it. I love it. Got me thinking. Okay, how can mature daters establish boundaries that protect their peace without closing themselves off to healthy love?
I think that boundaries are so important to just like to protect your mental, emotional, and physical, right? And whenever you're somebody who has boundaries, you understand boundaries. And you have to just go ahead and voice your boundaries early so that that person understands these are my boundaries, these are my limits. Boundaries can literally teach you how to love somebody else and for them to love you. And it's a piece of growing in a healthy, happy relationship. You can't look at boundaries like they're just walls. Like boundaries is literally like a soil that healthy love will grow from. And without having those boundaries, it's just like a plant, right? Like you'll get sucked out. Like there will be no oxygen coming to this relationship. So you can't grow in that manner. So you have to be able to establish boundaries, voice your boundaries, because too many people have boundaries that they never talk about. So how do I know it's a boundary when you don't tell me it's a boundary? You didn't tell me don't do that. So I'm going to do that not knowing it's going to affect you. So being able to voice those boundaries and then you and your partner or you, whoever you're dating, can establish that this is a boundary, this is a limit. This is something that I need for myself. It has nothing to do with you. Don't take my boundary personal.
I see.
It's not something towards you. This is a boundary for me. This is how I protect my peace. I'm not trying to hurt you with my boundary.
And a lot of times, if you just pour into someone, right? We often hear the phrases like, I'm too nice or I'm too giving. That's evidence of no boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you had to set a boundary for yourself, you wouldn't be feeling like that. You wouldn't be giving off that air of like, why did I do so much and got nothing in return? You would have kept in mind, I'm only willing to go so far. So a lot of times your boundaries are about your limits. It's not just about their limits, it's about your limits as well. And that boundary needs to be stated when it comes up. You don't have to state them all immediately. And as you get older, you're willing to, you tend to have more patience.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll also tend to be a little bit more wanting of a companion. And that sometimes blurs your lines of boundaries. If you know you can't deal with someone, or if you know you're not ready for something, or you know you don't want to give this piece of yourself to the other person, don't force it, but just tell the person like, hey, I don't want to do this. I'm not interested in that right now. Maybe later, but this is where I'm at. It's a simple communication of what that boundary is. And you don't have to call it a boundary. A lot of things that we do are not a boundary. If you don't want to get in the car with somebody to drive with them on a first date, that's an example of a boundary. I'll meet you there.
Mm-hmm.
You see, those are how boundaries get communicated. And then watch how the other person respects your boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You lay it down. You may do it subtly at first, but if they don't get it, you lay it down hard. Right? If they then start trying to cross them, then you know this person doesn't have the respect, or they don't have boundaries within themselves, so they don't know how to respect yours. So then it depends on what kind of patience you want to give the person.
So one of the things that is going through my mind now is that people 40 and above, and I'll speak specifically to the population of people who are 50 and above. One of the observations that I've had, this is the third summit that we've done, and the observation is people my age and above, they don't listen well because they're resting in their knowledge, but they don't recognize that that knowledge is old, it's stale, it doesn't work anymore. Not saying that their experience isn't valuable,
Right.
but saying their method is not working in the modern dating world. How do you address something like that?
I think the first thing is, no matter how old you are, you have to listen to understand and not just listen to respond. Whenever somebody is talking, actually listen to what they're saying and don't think that you just know it all, because you never will just know it all. You can have all the experience in the world, but if you don't listen, you're going to be a terrible partner. And nobody wants that, especially in older years. It's like, I don't want you if you don't listen. You don't listen to nothing I say, baby. I just rather be over here with something, listening to myself.
There's it's an effect in psychology. I can't remember what it's called offhand, but it's based off of scientists, where he talked about how people acquire knowledge and skills. He said, when you first start out in something, learning it, and in this instance, it would be dating, you know you don't know anything.
Right.
So then you soak a little bit up, but then you get a little bit of information. Now you think you're an expert. Now you think you know everything. And a lot of people stop at this point. And to people who are dating, I would like to say, if you knew everything, you would have been married and happy right now. So admitting that you don't have all the answers is the first way to get there. And then there's also a saying, the more you learn, the more you recognize, the less you know. That's what happens. You start getting a thirst for the knowledge. So there are different things that in dating that you learn about yourself, about the other people, about dating as a whole. If you've turned off your mind to dating and growing, how are you going to grow with another individual? Mm-hmm. And it also demonstrates when you get with a person, you're not going to grow with them either. You're going to get a little bit of information, think you know the person, and you don't know nothing.
Right.
It don't work that way. Yeah. You have got to just continue. So you can teach an old dog new tricks if the dog is willing to learn. Mm-hmm. And if you got all the answers, then move on and be happy where you're at.
Right. Right.
So we run across people, for us, when we do our consulting work, when we run across people that don't want to listen or they think they know anything, we just ask them, why are you here then? What brought you to our doorstep? Because it's in that moment that they recognize, no, I need the help. Well, then learn some humility and get the help.
Right.
And I think because the current society that we live in is so different from 40 years ago or 50 years ago or even 30 years ago, even 20 years ago, I think that we have to purpose in our hearts to be lifelong learners, regardless of the area. We think because we breathe or because we saw what was modeled with our grandparents and great grandparents, we think that we can bring that into this modern world. And it, instead of it empowering us, it causes us to stand still and to misinterpret the intentions of a partner. You know, a partner may not look like what we want. Back in the day when I was in high school or when I was in college, it was all about the looks, okay? We, us girls, had this thing about guys with bow legs and curly hair.
That's me.
And
That's me. That's me.
I mean, we were like, "Oh, he got bow legs." I wanna. We didn't have a clue what that meant, but anyway,
It was the end thing at the moment.
Right, right.
yes. And so I'm sharing that with you because I want our audience to realize knowledge is everywhere if you're willing to see it.
Absolutely.
Yes. So give us some more advice.
Go ahead.
You know what? For that age group, I think the biggest advice that you can give someone is to not give up. Like, I hate to say it, but love is a dirty game, and relationships are about teamwork. So when you loving somebody, you have to open yourself up to be hurt.
Yeah.
And when you're getting with someone, right? But if you treat your partner like a teammate, you can at least, worst case scenario, come out amicably, or you can grow as a team. Those are your two options. But you have to give yourself over to being a little bit vulnerable. And usually by that age group, people are a little bit more callous, they're less patient, they just, oh, I see this, and now they're trauma, they're like, oh no, I don't want to deal with it. And it's not that. You just gotta be a little bit more patient.
Absolutely. And I think that a big thing, especially like when you start thinking about like dating in your 50s, is understanding that like leadership is not control on both sides. As a woman, you probably got your life together at this point, right? Like you making plenty of money, you settle down, you own your own car, your credit score is where it needs to be. Like you will have life in order at 50. And so now it's a little bit harder to let somebody come in to guide, decide, protect, and provide for you because you figured out life for yourself now. And as a man, he wants to come in and be that leader. But you have to understand that leadership is not about control, it's more about guidance. And having somebody to lead inside of the relationship will help the relationship's longevity. It'll help y'all get through obstacles. It's like a navigation system for the tough seasons. And so I think it's big for both parties to understand that leadership is not control. And what leadership may look like now is different than what it may have looked like when you were dating in your 20s. Than when you saw grandma and grandpa. Because I know even from me seeing grandma and grandpa, what leadership looks like is different now. I'm not grandma. Like I don't stay at home all day and raise the kids. You know what I mean? Like, so leadership looks a little different. I need a little bit more help than grandma might have needed. And so I think that just having those tough conversations and understanding each other in this realm of, hey, we both got our stuff together. What can we do to make this relationship work? What does this look like for both parties? And I think that'll be like major whenever you got life already figured out.
Right.
I got a lot of experience, baby. Like, let's put this experience together so that we can have this healthy relationship. So now that we can just love each other, we don't have to be fighting and having all these conflicts and all this extra stuff going on. Like, we both have things figured out. We could be building businesses, buying homes, all kind of stuff. Like, let's figure out what we can do.
You know, I think it's ironic though that you have a lot of people in their 40s and 50s, they think that they're a special age group because of their age. The best part about it is you probably, like she said, figured life out, right? You figured out how to become financially stable. You figured out your interests and your not. those are your advantages, like I said earlier, and that you use them for. Other than that, you still dealing with the same stuff. We run across those age ranges, and they doing the same stuff young people out here doing. They sleeping around a couple people. They going over across town. They got, it's those types of things. And I will say one thing that is added to that age range is some of the health issues may start to come up, right? But the one thing you don't ever want to do is get with somebody and then they've hidden a whole bunch of health issues, or you're getting with somebody and you don't know how they're going to be with your health issues, which is a lot of times is the issue, right?
Yeah.
In that case, and when you get married at like 20 and 30 and you don't have the health issues, you're hoping and guessing that you build up with somebody and they'll have you.
Right.
40 and 50, you can start off the bat, third date. Hey, look, this is what's going on with me. Can you handle it? Yes or no?
Right.
Can you take care? Look, this might be a possible end of story for me, and this is what it looks like. Is that okay with you? If the person is like, I'm not the type of person who's gonna take care of you, I'm not gonna wipe your butt, you might want to just move on. you might want to just move on.
Maybe.
So it is a lot to do with where your goals are, where you're aligning at, how you're moving forward. And because you're in that stage of life where you're not in survival, you have the luxury of setting those goals together and then working towards them, whatever they may be, financial, family, whatever it is.
You know what I do like about whenever we deal with either singles or couples that are in their 50s, they've already been through like a lot of like therapy and healing, and now they understand a lot more that it's okay to like have real feelings and real emotions, especially like for a man, because most of them were not taught to have real emotions that you share. Because if you share too many emotions, now you looked at as weak, because a lot of people don't think like vulnerability and having emotions, they don't coexist in a lot of minds. And so I think that just having a lot of healing by the time that you're 50, sitting down and actually talking to somebody if you need to, getting the help that you need to have is going to play like a major role, because now you're not carrying so much trauma and emotional baggage that you just dragging behind. You should have been starting to get rid of some of that. Some of those problems we got to start figuring out. And you got to get whatever help you need. And I think that the older you get, the more you realize, I might need to talk to somebody. I might need the help. I might need to just take a moment to myself. You probably have some single years by now. A lot of young people don't have single years. I'm like, you need those single years to figure you out. If you can't date you, stop expecting for other people to date you.
Facts.
If you can't sit alone with you in a room by yourself, why do you think somebody else is going to want to sit in that space with you?
They not.
If you can't sit in your own silence, in your own peace by yourself, stop trying to drag somebody else into that with you. So by the time you're 50, you've had that time to like grow, develop, understand you. I know me at that point. And so I think that that's what should make dating even more beautiful, because it's like, I know me, baby. I know what I want. Let me tell you what I want from jump. So if you can't give it to me, we ain't got to waste time.
And so another big topic that they have is sex. The whole realm of sex has now changed when you're older, right? It's how long, how much, when, where, all those things, dynamics have changed when you get older. You want to find someone also that's as sexually active as you. Because if you're up there and you're just like, nah, I'm cool on it, then you might want to find somebody that's not cool on it.
Yeah.
But if you are and you want it, then you need to find somebody that you want it, because you come into things like menopause, you come into things like, erectile dysfunction, maybe your health isn't where it needs to be for these medications. So you got to have those tough conversations, and you got to have them quickly.
Yeah.
You got to have, and I'm not saying in the first date, but once you're thinking like, ooh, I want to be with this person, I want to date them in like an actual relationship, you got to dive in. Like, hey, what's your sex like? I like to use toys and go to swingers club. What are you into? If any stuff like that, you got to have that uncomfortable or you're going to get with somebody that everything else is great, but now you're looking outside because you want that attraction, that desire, that want. And that becomes a big thing, especially as some people slow down and some people speed up.
Right.
So you definitely want to have the mix. You don't want to have a mix and match.
Facts.
I love it. I love it. So, what does baggage-free love look like in real life for people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond? And how can someone identify a partner who is also emotionally ready for a fresh chapter?
I think that just having some of the tough conversations early can tell you where somebody is like mentally and emotionally. It's like if you can't even sit down and have a conversation, you can't handle like no level of conflict, you might not be emotionally ready. If I try to talk to you about anything that's going on and I'm gonna watch your response, I'm gonna watch how you react to those things. You may not be emotionally where I need you to be, even if you are 60. Because one thing that I've heard a lot is I'm grown because I'm 55. And it's like, but you gotta grow a little bit. Age doesn't make your maturity level be where it needs to be.
Application does.
Absolutely.
Applications of the lessons and experiences. And as far as like to recognize your baggage, you don't necessarily have to have somebody that doesn't have any baggage, right? Or doesn't have any trauma, because they could be carrying it. And the reason why you know trauma exists with that person is it just shows up. Right? I'm healed, I'm good, and then something happens, and then it's like I have the trauma response. Oh my goodness. Now you're trying to deal with it. But before, if this stimulus never showed up, you never know it was there, right? So you don't want a partner that's fully healed. That's not what you should be looking for. You should be looking more so for a partner that wants to heal and that you can be patient with in their healing process and that they're actively trying to heal. So, and when you have those things moving, when stuff comes up and you recognize it for what it is, then you can work together for it. So because you're not going to get anybody that's 100% healed. They just haven't seen their triggers yet.
Right.
When that trigger shows up, if it shows up, boom, how do they handle it?
Yeah.
And I think personally, the one thing I try to tell people to ask on like a first date is always, why did your last relationship break up? You know, you ask that, but then your immediate follow-up is, what did you learn about yourself? If they now direct all the attention on the other person, like, I can't trust men, or all women are liars, they're deflecting. They haven't done any introspective work. So when that happens, you know this person is not looking at themselves or anything that's going on with them, because we all play a part in our reality, and we can always learn something from every experience. If they've got nothing to give you on those answers, you may want to be like, hold up, and then show them how to look inside or move on. But I think that's one of the most important questions that you ask early. First date.
So one of the things I'm thinking about, how do you deal with the blended family situation when you're dating? Because 9 times out of 10, there's going to be kids and grandkids and great grandkids. How do you deal with that?
You're not sleeping or marrying with any of them. Okay? So whether they get along or not let me back up. When you have those instances, it's up to you two to manage the interactions, but it's not up to you to develop their relationships with one another. It's only you and that person and you and that household. Okay? So if you have a blended family, and usually by that age, kids are moving out or kids are older. And so you got one up on the competition. They almost out the house. They don't have to like each other, but they always got to respect your partner. And how you watch your partner handle them and how they handle their kids, they should mirror. No matter what the cost. And you should always show priority to your wife or your husband. When dating, it's not that you show priority or not.
It's a little bit trickier with dating.
Right. With that, you just have to manage the interactions and make sure nothing gets out of hand. Right. It's not you picking one over the other. It's about you making sure that everybody's respectful, which they can do. And when they're not, now questions got to be asked. Why? What's with this? What's going on? And early, as soon as you see them, not letting it persist, but as soon as it comes up, and you have to foster the relationship, because these kids, they ain't going nowhere. These grandkids, they showing up, you gonna want them in their lives. So then you just do things to foster the relationship, or sometimes you just got to keep them separate because personalities clash.
I think the biggest thing is the respect. You don't gotta like them, but you will respect them. Because when I'm gonna want people over for a dinner, y'all don't have to be besties, but there will be respect.
Facts.
And so I think that that's major. Just making sure that having a blended family it can be a blessing, right? Like, because now you get all of these new personalities to come into play too. And it's like such and such has a skill set that this person doesn't. You can learn things from each other. And it's just the dynamic can be really beautiful. But if there is no basis of respect, it's not going to matter. Because then everybody's going to be saying what they want to, moving how they want to. And now if your kids are a little bit older, they're going to be like, Mom, I'm an adult. I can say what I want to say. And it's like, you can respectfully.
And not in my house. And she touched on it earlier, that leadership role, and typically it falls towards the male. You got to be able to manage all of those interactions because you're responsible for all those people. You're responsible for that woman. You're responsible for your kids. And then by extension, you may even be responsible for her kids, being that y'all are married now. You got to make sure that everything runs smooth and you have to recognize when it's not. And that's where the big part of leadership comes in because it's uncomfortable sometimes. You may not like it, but it's your house, your decisions, and it's your partner that you got to guard and protect and take care of. So sometimes that may mean, no, you can't live with me no more because my household is going to be disrupted. No, you can't come over when you want to because you don't know how to respect my partner. And it may be those hits that you take, but you always discuss them with your partner. You always try to come to like a resolution of the conflict. But ultimately, you got to make the choice that protects your home and your teammate.
So the reason why I asked that question is because we are in the holidays and those scenarios and situations are happening. Thanksgiving, Christmas, families are coming together, and especially if the two partners are fairly new in their relationship, they may be introducing their new partner to their family in a holiday situation. So I love the advice that you gave because respect is key. But one of the challenges I've seen, because I love studying intergenerational communication, I've seen the disrespect on both sides. One side disrespect because of age, and the other side, I lost you. Oh, there you go.
I don't know.
You're back. Hallelujah.
Easy work. Easy.
And on the other side, disrespect because them young kids, they don't know nothing, wrapped up in the age thing, the seniority thing. And obviously, there's a lack of maturity on both sides. And there are grandchildren and children who don't think mama or my dear need to be dating. Why you date my grandma? That kind of thing. So
Right.
what do you suggest when you fall into those kind of scenarios where respect is hard to come by?
I think you have to demand it. Like, you don't give them a choice, you don't give them an option because it's mama's house. Okay. One thing, two things for sure. I don't care how grown I am. When I go to my grandma's house, I behave a certain way because grandma don't play that still.
Right.
Grandma not gonna allow that. If grandma gotta tell you, you in trouble, you don't want to go there and have that conversation with grandma. You might can tell grandma on the side, I don't really like Mr. James, but you ain't finna be disrespectful to Mr. James because grandma is not gonna play that. So I think it's just demanding it and understanding that, yes, you're my child. Yes, I love you. Yes, I want to see my grandkids. Yes, I love y'all all over here. But I also have this going on. I need y'all all to figure out how we can become a family because Mr. James not going nowhere. Mama 65, I got a man, y'all get over it. This what we doing, okay? So we need to figure out what we can do to blend this family now because now Mr. James got kids and his kids coming over too.
Right.
Now we got 38 grandchildren together.
Oh, that's
getting gifts. So you just have to demand that level of respect. You have to make sure that everybody understands this isn't going to change. I need y'all to accept it because this is what I'm doing now.
And along with demanding the respect also goes the relationship development. And then a lot of that could be a little hurt, right? Let's say we're together, we have kids, and then I die, and then she decides to date. Them kids, they still remember me. So when they see you dating somebody else, they're looking like, ooh, who this dude right here? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes that plays a role in it, and you have to, as the parent, sit, talk, cater to that because they're just not over it. And it's just pain a lot of times that's happening, right? Now, if there's a problem in Mr. Jenkins, you might need that. You need to hear out. You never know because sometimes kids may have seen some things or recognize something, and people on the outside often do see things that you don't want to see because you got the rose-colored glasses on, and that just may be what it is. But it's okay. And then when you come to those instances, you want to just sit, talk, and like I said, develop a relationship. And that means Mr. Jenkins go to the kid and take an interest in the kid, right? You're gonna be around. You involved in Meemaw's life. Well, let's talk. Well, how are you doing? What's going on with you? I know you don't like me. You know, sometimes you can just say, look, I know you don't like me, but get to know me. I'm trying to get to know you. I just want to do right by her. When they see that your intentions are good, they then can become your biggest advocate. I always liken it to like kids are like the little best friends that you have. When like the younger group, like, and I will say this plainly, when I was dating younger, I didn't have her, I had the girl I liked, but I made a really good impression on her friend, right? You make the good impression on her friend, so when you can't fight for you, the friend will fight for you in your place. Well, then the same thing, that kid will fight for you in your place. Whenever she's mad at you, whenever he's like tired of you, the other one will fight for you. He's like, no, Mr. Jenkins is cool. He helped me out. He's a good person. Y'all just wilding right now. But they gonna get that ear.
And I think that like being a step parent, it's always big to not try to force the relationship. Like, I'm not your mom and I can't replace your mom. But this is who I can be to you and for you. And I think that too many times people try to just force it. Like, yeah, I'm here, so this is my role. And it's like, no, you got to still give them a little bit of patience too to understand what's going on. And the biggest thing is like, hey, I'm just here for whatever you need, baby. I'm not trying to make you do anything. You don't have to call me grandpa yet. Like, let stuff develop organically over time. You know, I know you ain't got it. You just met me. I ain't dad. I got it. You know, you know your father, you know? And so I think it's just allowing those relationships to develop in an organic manner is going to help the whole blended situation.
I love it. Okay. So now I'm asking you a question. Why do you do what you do?
Oh, why do we do what we do? Okay. So we absolutely love healthy love. I am so big on seeing relationships have that 90s kind of love. And I feel like that comes from a place of like healing, understanding, allowing the core principles to come into place. So we teach people a way to love to where it'll last. So we take a lot of the mystery out of relationships and we teach them the skills and to see it on the other side. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
Definitely. And then, you know what? Both of us come from like troubled households. Whereas children, we watch the relationship with our parents and then the relationship they try to have with other people influence us. And then when we talk to other people, we see the same thing. And you develop a lot of trauma from that. A lot of the reason why we started this work was to build a healthier home for kids. If you start at the beginning of where the relationship starts, and it's when two people meet each other and they start dating, if you can create a better foundation for that, that story then gets told repetitively to those kids on how they can heal and how they can develop relationships. They provide examples. There's a happy household. Everybody's learning to work together. When you provide that example, then kids get to see it can be done. Not only can it be done, they can mimic it. Then they know what to watch for, what to do, what not to do, or they know where to come back for advice. And so a lot of that has to do with how you started to date and what kind of household you're going to build. And so, you know, the little kid in us just kind of went, we're going to start this.
Wow, I have really enjoyed this conversation with you all. And I can tell you, we're going to talk again.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is so empowering to hear your perspective and the techniques and the things that, the strategies that you suggested, I can see such a meshing, such love coming together for the good. And love becomes, after listening to you all, love becomes an adventure. And who
Absolutely.
like a good adventure? So, okay. Do you have any closing comments, any offers, anything you want to share with our listening audience before we say goodbye?
You can find us at all platforms at Relationship Battle Twins, where we do consultations, we help with problems, we even do retreats, panels like this. It's the easiest way to catch us.
Yeah, you send us a quick message. We try to respond. If we don't, we promise we're gonna get to it at some point. It won't might not be immediate, but we'll get to it. So yeah, just make sure you follow us on all platforms at Relationship Battle Twins, and always remember, healthy love heals.
Absolutely. Well, viewers, you have been taken on an adventure, and we've covered things that you might have secretly been wondering about. And I feel empowered myself, so I can imagine how you feel. And well, what can I say? That's what we do here. Again, we educate, we don't match make. Okay? We want you to be prepared to have the best love relationship because you deserve love. You deserve everything that a healthy love brings to your life. And you are worthy of that. Well, anyway, let me stop preaching. It's time to move on. I want to say thank you again,
Thank
relationship
you so much.
twins, relationship battle twins. I love y'all. You can
Thank
adopt
you.
look, you can adopt Mama J. And
Appreciate
we'll be talking again soon. Well,
it.
Absolutely.
don't forget, there's more to come. And just stay tuned, all right? Have a great day. Thanks again.